Other M issue 10. We see a sort of warthog Mobian getting bowed to by two people calling him master, and he reminds them of how his thirst for power left him as this wretched being. Now he's reminding me of how Mammoth Mogul was revealed to be in Silver's future. I guess that's where Flynn got the idea. He says that there's another whose search for power will drive him mad, and drive him to destroy all of creation. What is he, a psychic who can somehow know all this? And one, the person that he's talking about, I don't think it was his search for power that drove him mad. And two, I'm assuming these two are Elias and Sally in ninja suits. And something about the hair. They're told that the rebellion has to be shown what Knuckles has. And Sally keeps annoying me by telling Elias to let the Master speak like a suck-up when he's just asking follow-up questions for basic conversation. They're told to take the rebels to the Guardian's lair and show them the treasures he's hoarded. Hopefully they'll tell the rebels that they're good guys first to avoid a big fight. They're told to take the leader and the outsider. They mean Sonic, right? Do they all know that their Sonic was replaced when he has the same body as the original? Is that from their leader being psychic too? One of them asks about the girl to the other's confusion, and is told to liberate the girl from the evil one's reach, even though apparently their leader said she was the key to their destruction. He says that in the right hand she won't be used. I'm glad this warthog guy is a good guy. I was bored thinking he was a villain at first. Meanwhile, Sonic gets beaten by Bean in a simple, pebble dropping game. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. And everyone starts laughing at Sonic's embarrassment when Antoine jokes that he might start betting bunks again. Bark tells them that they have a visitor, and fortunately Bean is reasonable enough to ask him if they should call him a friend or foe instead of them all attacking him immediately. He says that he is their friend and they shall call him Alpha, so I guess Alpha is just an arbitrary codename. Alpha was sent by someone who supposedly wouldn't benefit if the Guardian won or lost, and says that he'll guide them to the most heavily guarded area of the world with his magic. Sonic kisses Fiona and holds her hand to say goodbye, and he and Bean go into the water to meet with Alpha outside, who simply walks down into the lake. They take his hands and there's a bunch of dust, and they get warped into the Guardian's personal storage room for his special projects, like the experimental roboticizer. So what's the point of having the Legion for the main villain if they're going to use roboticization anyways? That's supposed to be Robotnik's thing. Alpha brings them to what he wants them to see. We see hissing smoke behind a door, and they are all stunned at seeing the unconscious King Acorn trapped in a crystal ball unconscious, rather than dead or in the zone of silence, because that makes too much sense for a guy who burned his grunt to death. It's explained that the king is trapped in the Void device, keeping him in a form of suspended animation through a rift in another zone. Bean asks Sonic how he already knows about other zones, and Sonic awkwardly changes the subject and isn't asked the same question by Alpha because I guess Alpha wants Sonic to keep his cover. Alpha says that his master wants Sonic to take something from Knuckles to ensure he won't use it as a weapon. He types and shows them that floating in a void is an unconscious girl that has stuff connected to her head. Alpha explains that the testing has made her de-age, and while she should be 8 years old now, she's physically only 4 or 5. She's the niece of the Mercian Battle Lord Rob Hedge, Amy. She was sent to the Guardian as a cruel gift, and is being monitored for highly concentrated psychic abilities that would make her very useful. That really sounds exciting. I wish Flynn made our Amy show those. But no, that would make her be too competent. I guess Sega wouldn't let him make her more useful than just a generic hammer wielder who could be replaced by anyone. Also, this universe is rather different since Robin Hedge is her uncle, not her cousin. How does that work? Wouldn't every universe have identical counterparts of everyone with the same DNA? So how would Robin be her uncle instead? She would have her uncle's DNA, and therefore it would make her different and thus not Amy anymore. It's explained that Amy is mentally advanced, and Alpha arbitrarily says that it would be impossible for them to get them both out of here, even though he can teleport, and suggests that they get Amy for her magic. Just then, an alarm goes off proving Alpha right, and Sonic grabs Amy, who is smiling in her sleep while in his arms, and he briefly stares at the void he rescued her from, probably wondering if he could use it to go back home before realizing that this isn't the right time. Alpha gets knocked out before he could warp them away from the Chaotix because he gets shot by a laser while he was insisting on telling them to grab their hands rather than just immediately grabbing them himself. Never mind, apparently they get warped to the lake anyways. So if Alpha doesn't need to hold their hands to warp them, why do you insist on them doing it? Loneliness? And I hope they were warped to the other side of the lake because how did they expect to get Amy to their base without drowning her? Meanwhile, Knuckles, who has a long cape and his evil Snively shirt is a different design, is unhappy at seeing him because, as I expected, Alpha is revealed to be Elias. Unexpectedly, he tells Knuckles to his face that little tidbit, and tells him that he's doomed as well. Knuckles unsurprisingly kills him off because I wonder why Alpha hadn't just warped away with his overpowered magic teleportation power and saved himself. For some bizarre reason, Vector looks scared and asks where to throw Elias away, even though he's shown himself to be a cruel, sadistic, and violent villain with the way he attacked Remington. So why isn't he smirking? And Maddie looks melancholic while Julie looks sad. You'd think Knuckles would recognize these facial expressions and get suspicious of them being disloyal. This issue was by Ian Flynn. So the alternate universe Sally and Elias are being trained in their inherent magic by either an alternate Mammoth Mogul who's good or some warthog filling that same role with the psychic powers and everything. Maybe he was one of the associates of Ixis, who magically knows that the Guardian has Amy trapped in his base with King Acorn for her psychic abilities. And also he de-aged her to a 4-year-old for no reason. Fortunately, Bean doesn't attack Elias when he approaches him, and lets them teleport Sonic and him to Amy to save her. But for some reason, Elias not only still warps Sonic and Bean to safety with Amy despite not holding their hands, breaking a rule established in the same issue he was introduced in, but he also arbitrarily doesn't teleport away from the Chaotix, which gets him killed off completely unnecessarily. I really don't see the point of that happening, since I'm pretty sure the whole plot would have been exactly the same otherwise. Well, since Julie looks sad and Vector looks nervous, maybe this was supposed to be a turning point for them where they realize, no, it's not going to be. They're always going to be working for Knuckles. Vector was always shown to be pretty cruel and violent, killing a traitor and hurting Remington no problem. So why would he care now? If Elias let himself die in a gambit to get the Chaotix to turn on Knuckles, that was very selfless and brave of him, and totally pointless because it didn't work. And it's also very risky, because they had no way of knowing for sure that they would even care. But either way, this was a great issue. I love the concepts introduced here, with Amy's tarot card future forecasting power from the Sonic CD manual being taken advantage of here, and Sally, or at least Elias, being implied to have useful magical powers that being trained under a psychic told them about.